Hi, everybody. Welcome to Social Studies for today. We're going to work off of this agenda. And today I'm going to spend some time talking about the causes of the American Revolution. And then I'm going to get you started on your Mission US for Crown or Colony game. It's a game, but it's really more than a game. It's a historical simulation. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. And I hope that you brought your headphones today. So our focus question is how and why did people living in the 13 colonies protest against British laws? So as you're going through today's simulation, I want you to be thinking about that reading Trouble in the Colonies, CR 13. Since I've been absent, I have not had a chance to go over that reading with you yet. So instead, what I'm going to do is play a slideshow, Causes of the American Revolution. And I'm going to attach this slideshow to today's agenda so that you have reference to it if you need to. And that word revolution is something that we did not discuss. It was actually supposed to be what we were going to do yesterday in class, was discuss that word revolution. So I'll just give you the short version. A revolution in historical terms is a sudden change. It's a sudden change in something. And we've had a lot of different revolutions through human history, but the change we're talking about during the American Revolution was a change in government. We overthrew the British government, and then we fought a war to get our freedom from England, and then we created our own government and our own country, the United States of America. So, what started this American Revolution? Well, it's complicated, but first thing to know is that before the French and Indian War, it was really happy times in America. And that's why I say the French and Indian War was really the first cause of the American Revolution, because for years, the American colonists have pretty much been left alone to do their own thing. The British did make some laws for the colonies to follow, but for the most part, each colony's government made their own laws for that colony. So the people had a say in their own government within their colony at home. They kind of knew that England was in charge, but England didn't do a lot to enforce the rules. Now, some of these terms we haven't really discussed yet because there's another piece of this that, with my absence, I was not able to go over with you yet, but I will when I come back. And that has to do with the way the government was organized in the 13 colonies. Each of the colonies had something called an assembly, where the people of the colony could vote for their own laws. And because they could vote for those laws in their assemblies, especially tax laws, they felt like they had a say in their government. And having a say in their government is something called representation. It's really what democracy is all about. But this was about to change because after the French and Indian War in 1763, it was like mom comes home. England is mom. And in after 1763, the English say we're gonna take charge again, and we are going to pass some new tax laws that you, the people of the colonies, are going to have to follow, so that we can raise some money to pay for these very expensive wars that we fought defending America from first the French and then from Chief Pontiac. And England also began to strictly enforce the Navigation Acts, which were some old laws that stopped Americans from trading with other countries. They had It had been the law for a while, but a lot of times it wasn't enforced. So now, after 1763, England says, "Well, we're going to start enforcing those laws too." And Americans said, "Well, wait a minute. How come we don't have a say in those laws? Those laws aren't made here at home in our colony. They're made back in England, and we don't have a way to vote on those laws." So, from the Americans' point of view, let me grab my cursor. They said, "We have no representation in Parliament," which is the part of the government in England that was making these laws. And since we have no representation or no say in these laws, we shouldn't have to follow these laws. And this is the basic dispute or argument between England and the colonies during this whole time period. The Americans said, "We can't vote on the law, we don't follow the law." And the big thing was about taxes. That's what most of these laws were about. The colonists said, "We have no say in tax laws like the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts." And so they reacted by rioting. Angry mobs literally attacked the homes of these tax collectors and threatened them with violence. And for that reason, many of these taxes were never even collected. But really, it was the boycotts of British goods that worked best. And you read about those boycotts in your CR13 reading. Boycott, of course, meaning they stopped buying stuff made in England as a way of protesting. We talked about this a few days ago in class, most classes, when we watched the video on Martin Luther King Jr., and we talked about the Montgomery bus boycott, where African American citizens in Montgomery, Alabama, refused to buy bus tickets to ride the bus, and this was their way of protesting those very unfair segregation laws. So boycotts throughout history have always been effective because they hit people where it hurts the most, in their pocketbook, in their wallet. It costs them money. And for this reason, British merchants actually begged Parliament to end all these taxes, and in some cases they did. And another term for boycott is a non-importation agreement. And this is where the American shopkeepers would refuse to sell British products in their stores. So the shopkeeper said, we're not going to import, we're not going to buy stuff from England and then turn around and sell it to people in the colonies, because that would be supporting British businesses. And the boycott was all about hurting British business as much as they could to convince the British to get rid of these tax laws. And the boycotts worked. Instead of buying things like cloth, the colonists would make their own cloth and their own clothes instead of buying those clothes from England. They would sometimes, instead of drinking British tea, they would drink other things instead of tea. Tea was a very popular drink back then. So they found creative ways to make do with some of the products that in the past they had to rely on England to buy. Now, the Americans who fought back against these new tax laws were called patriots. But some Americans didn't agree with this. Some Americans thought that we should continue to support England. After all, they were our mother country. England was still considered the home country for a lot of Americans. And so those Americans were called loyalists. And you're going to need to know the difference between those two for your simulation that you play today and tomorrow. Well, with all this trouble going on in the colonies, it's not a surprise that England ended up sending British soldiers, the famous Redcoats, to cities like Boston to enforce the law and make people pay the taxes. But this only angered the colonists further, especially when the British passed these quartering acts. An act is a law, which forced the Americans to feed and house these troops, in some cases literally keeping the troops in local businesses or homes. So the town of Boston was a real flashpoint for protest and violence during the American Revolution. It's really the birthplace of the American Revolution. And in Boston, there was a secret organization of patriots called the Sons of Liberty. And these are the people who organized American protests and plotted against the British. And actually, there were also Daughters of Liberty, groups of women who did the same thing. So the American Revolution begins in the seaport of Boston. I say seaport because here's a little map of Boston right here, located on a peninsula sticking out into Boston Harbor. And of course, over here would be the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm going to leave my notes now, and I'm going to take you to the simulation. Now, I have posted a couple of slides for you to paste in your journal here and here. And in today's agenda, there's a link to the website you're going to need to go to. I just did a search, Mission US Crown or Colony, but you should use the direct link. And when I click to that, it's going to take me to this website. Now, if for any reason you end up on the main page for Mission US, be aware that there are other missions. There are missions that have to do with Native Americans. There's a mission on the Underground Railroad, and those might all be interesting, but those aren't the missions that we're playing today. We're playing for Crown or Colony. Crown referring to the British, Colony referring to the people of the colonies. So this is kind of like saying, are you going to be a patriot or are you going to be a loyalist? So here's the game. Here's the page you're going to go to. I'm going to log out, actually, because I'm already logged in. I want you to see what that page will look like for you. And this is what it will look like. And you'll have to create an account up here. And you'll fill all this out. Do not spend a lot of time on a username or a password. Feel totally free to make your password 12345 because no one is going to hack into your Mission US account to play the game. The password really is not a big deal. In fact, the only reason why you're creating an account is so that it will save your progress if you don't finish it all in one sitting, which you probably will not. By having an account, it should pick up right where you left off next time. And you'll have to select a reminder question. You could put down Greece or Rochester. Hey, you could put down Mars for the city, and it really wouldn't be a big deal. It's going to give you an account either way. And you don't have to fill in this part about how did you hear about Mission US. So once you create an account, then you're going to log in. I'm going to do that now. I already have my account made. And then you're going to start your mission. Now, usually I would play the first part of this mission together with you guys in class so that I could explain a few things to you before you jumped into the game. But we're kind of at the mercy of technology today. And unfortunately, when I record a video, it doesn't give me the sound of the game over the video. So you're not going to hear any sound here, I don't think. But once you load it, well, maybe you'll hear the sound playing in the background. Once you load it, you're going to choose New Game. And you're going to choose Prologue. That's where you start. And you're going to listen to what is being said. And I'm actually going to try to mute that because I want you to listen to that on your own. Now, the good thing is, let me find my mute button. The good thing is, oh, that didn't work.
My family's farm is
I don't know what carrot browsing is. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, hopefully that background sound is not too annoying. I want you to listen to this on your own. Luckily, the words do appear on the screen, so even if you don't have headphones, in most cases, you'll see the captions on the bottom. But sometimes the characters say things where there's no captions, which is why it's better to have earphones. So right now, they're just giving some background information. As you play this game, you're going to beat this guy, Nat Wheeler, who is moving to Boston to become a printer's apprentice. And so right now he's just giving you some background information, and then in a minute, when he's done talking, you're going to get a map, and you're going to have to click on the map where you want to go, and that's where I'm going to show you just the basics of the game here. So let's wait until Nat gets done talking. And there's Nat's mother calling him inside to pack his things because he's heading off to Boston. And all right, so here's your map. So anytime you want to move around in the game, you click on the place on the map where you want to go. And we want to go to the farmhouse. Oh, it says before you talk to your mother, you have to make a wish at the well. So we're going to make a wish at the well. And it's always going to give you a choice of what you can or what you want to do. So I'm going to wish for success and drop a coin in the well. And now I have a coin. And you'll see during the game, you'll collect things like this, these badges. It's not important for what we're doing. So don't really worry too much about the badges that you collect. And now I'm going to go to the farmhouse. It says, this house has been your home for your whole life. What will it be like living in a town with so many people? Well, I'm going to enter the house and talk to my mom before I leave. All right. And this is actually where I'm going to stop. I just want to point out that whenever there's a person standing here looking at you, like they want to say something to you, you got to click on them. And when you click on them, hey, Caleb, I'm recording a video. Why are you holding toilet paper in your hand? It fell in the toilet? Okay, put it down right there and I'll take care of it. Sorry about that, guys. Yep, put the toilet paper down and I'll be with you in a minute. So my son, unfortunately, is also home with me. Only unfortunate because he's missing more school. All right, so now you got mother looking at you and she wants to talk to you. So you have to choose what you want to say to her. And that's how you have a conversation with people during this game. They'll talk to you and then you'll be given choices of what to say to them. Let me see if I can go back here. Back to game. I really want to go to the main menu. Oh, so this is important. Whenever you want to go back, hit escape. Like if you need to stop the game, escape will take you back to, like, it will shrink the screen like that. Okay, I want to stop. So I'm going to see what my options are here for that. Back to game. It's not going to let me stop. I think I had to finish my conversation with her. I'm going to tell her that I won't disappoint her.
You will make a wonderful printer's apprentice.
And I'm going to ask how much I make as a printer's apprentice.
Did your father not tell you?
So I'm just going to sort of choose random. Now, this is a good example of what you should not do. Is you're playing the game, don't do what I'm doing. Don't just like flick through really quickly. You really want to take your time and listen to everything that those characters are saying to you, because it's all important. If you rush through the game and you sort of play it like a video game where you're speeding through it, you're going to miss a lot of subtle nuances, a lot of facts and information, which is really the point of the game, to learn about the American Revolution. This is an excellent game. It was very well researched, and much of what you experienced really happened. So it's worth your time to slow down. All right, so I'm having trouble actually, and there are a few glitches in this game. It's very good. We've played it in my classroom for 5 or 6 years now, but there are a few glitches. Like you can see right now, I'm having trouble just stopping the game. Now, if I watch what happens if I just close the game out, or I'll hit back, right, and it'll take me back here. And now I want to restart the game because I only got so far. So I'm gonna hit start mission. And it should ask me if I want to resume the game. Let's see if it does, because then it should take me back to right where I left off. And not sure if it's going to do that or not, but it should. Yeah, continue. So this is how you would do it. If you need to stop the game, just close it out, and it should pick up roughly where it left off. Now, let me point out maybe 1 or 2 more things, and then you're on your own. Your slide in your journal. This is what you're doing during the game to prove to me that you played it. As you go through and you talk to each of these characters, they will all pop up at various levels in the game. You're going to be trying to figure out, are they a patriot? Are they someone who is supporting the colonies in their struggle against England? Or are they a loyalist? Are they someone who's staying loyal to England and is against this revolution? All right, so if someone is participating in boycotts and is bad-mouthing the British, they're probably a patriot, right? And if someone is saying, no, we should follow the law, they're probably a loyalist. You might have to talk to these people more than once before you can actually figure out if they're a patriot or loyalist. So just keep an open mind as you play through the different levels of the game. There are 4 or 5 levels. For each level, there are certain tasks that you have to perform. Make sure you're using the maps. The maps are how you travel through the game. And enjoy. It is really cool. I do hope you brought headphones. If you did not bring headphones, there are some in the room, and I'm going to ask the adult in the room to pull those headphones out, but please return them when you are done. And as you can see, that is all we have for the agenda today. Jump into that game. You will have all of next class also to play Mission US for Crown or Colony. Good luck.